Hi guys! Today we are going to talk about inguinal hernia. Inguinal hernia is defined as bulging of the parts of abdominal cavity through a weakness in the abdominal wall, and generally speaking, hernia consists of three parts. The first one is the covering of hernia, which is derived from the layers of abdominal wall. Next up is the hernia sac, which is simply an outpouching of the peritoneum with a mouth, a neck, and a body. The third part is the content of the hernia, which can be the omentum, and this hernia called as the omentocele, intestine forming the enterocele, or even Meckel's diverticulum called a Litter's hernia. Clinically, hernia can be classified as reducible, where the contents can move freely in and out of the hernia into the peritoneal cavity, or irreducible, where the contents cannot be returned back and it is associated with a high risk of complications. Obstructed hernia occurs when the hernia contains bowel contents and is characterized by luminal obstruction. Then comes the strangulated hernia, which is hernia with a vascular compromise. Neck of the hernia causes decreased venous return that causes the pressure to build up inside the hernia sac, leading to decreased arterial blood flow and eventually ischemia. Strangulated hernia presents with acute pain and requires urgent surgery. When the strangulated hernia progresses to gangrene, this is called infarcted hernia. Sometimes we use the word incarcerated, which is irreducible hernia developing towards strangulation. Having said that, let us consider two different types of hernia. Sliding hernia occurs at the deep inguinal ring, lateral to the inferior epigastric vessels. The retroperitoneal tissue is pulled into the inguinal canal, pulling with it the peritoneum, which forms a sac. Pantaloon or saddlebag hernia is where the direct and indirect hernia straddle the inferior epigastric artery, one medial and one lateral to the vessel. Inguinal hernias can also be classified anatomically into direct and indirect inguinal hernias. If we consider this black structure as the inguinal canal with two openings, the deep and the superficial inguinal rings, the indirect inguinal hernia enters the canal through the deep inguinal ring lateral to the inferior epigastric vessels. Hence, it is also known as lateral hernia. This type is congenital due to failure of obliteration of processus vaginalis. Direct inguinal hernia, on the other hand, enters the inguinal canal through a weakness in the abdominal wall medial to the inferior epigastric vessels. Hence, it is also called medial hernia. And it lies within the Hasselbalch's triangle that is formed laterally by the inferior epigastric artery, medially by the rectus abdominis muscle, and inferiorly by the inguinal ligament. Inguinal hernias are mostly diagnosed clinically when the patient presents with a palpable groin mass that may or may not be reducible or may even have a positive cuff impulse. The surgeon then locates the bony landmarks of the anterior superior iliac spine and the pubic tubercle to find the mid-inguinal point and applies gentle pressure here while the patient is lying down and the patient is asked to cuff. This helps to differentiate indirect hernia, which is controlled by this maneuver, and direct hernia, which is not. Supportive imaging includes ultrasonography, a CT scan, MRI, or even herniogram. The only definitive treatment of inguinal hernia is surgery, and this hernia repair can be of three types. The first one is herniotomy, which is simply the removal and closure of sac but carries a risk of recurrence, therefore it is used for children with indirect hernia. Next up is the open repair that can be non-prosthetic. This technique involves herniotomy and repair of the posterior wall of the inguinal canal. Some common techniques are Bassani's repair and the Shoulder's repair. Open repair can also be prosthetic, which includes herniotomy and reinforcement of the posterior wall of inguinal canal with a synthetic mesh. And the most commonly used technique is Liechtenstein repair. The third approach is laparoscopic, that includes total extraperitoneal (TEP) and transabdominal preperitoneal (TAPP or TAP). This is it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Until next time.